Hello everyone, my name is Ujjwal and welcome to the channel. In this video, we are going to discuss the game played between Nihal Sarin versus Liren. Both players are extremely strong players. Nihal Sarin from India having the rating of 2673 versus Liren having the rating of 2811. This game was played on Chess.com Global Championship Knockout 2022. This is a global tournament played on the Chess.com platform, and every best player in the world have been selected to play in this tournament, and it's an elimination tournament. Basically, for example, in this game between Nihal and Ding, the player who wins will qualify, and the player will lose will simply get eliminated. And the prize fund is absolutely amazing, absolutely huge. I don't know, but it's pretty huge. You can just check out on the Google and any platform. So in this video, there is like the first person to score 2.5 points out of 4 is going to be selected for the to play the next round. So now first let's discuss the first game, because all the games are going to be very interesting, and we are going to actually learn a lot. So let's discuss. So in the first game, Liren is playing with the white pieces and Nihal Sarin is playing with the black pieces. We have Nihal Sarin on our side, so like you can see over here. So, Ding with the white pieces starts out the game with 1d4. We have d5 by Nihal, very solid, c4, e6, knight c3. Perhaps we can have the Nimzo on the board, but we have, okay, not the Nimzo, because we have this knight f6 in this position at the place of d5. But after knight c3, we have simply c5. We have the Tarrasch defense. And after c5, like, it's very common in the higher level, you can play anything, but in the lower level, it is not so common, because in this position, Ding decides to trade the center pawns. What happens in the position is, after trading the c pawn with the e pawn, you can carefully look at, like, if for example, if white captures the c pawn as well, after bishop into c5, we can already sense that the d5 pawn is an isolated pawn. There are no pawn on the e or c pawn to defend the d pawn, so basically it's an isolated pawn, a weak pawn. So it can be considered as a long-term advantage for white. But in return, black got this huge amount of development ideas like this, and d5 pawn also provides black with the space advantage in the center. Definitely, black is not going to capture the pawn because black is going to lose the pawn. Black can simply play d4. And I think it's good for it's an equal position. So that's the reason. But in the lower level, many players are afraid of protecting this isolated pawn. That's why they do not go for playing this Tarrasch variation. But we know Nihal, he's not afraid of anything. We have knight f3, knight f6, bishop to g5, bishop to e6. So basically now the bishop is usually on the e6, defending, like working as a pawn to defend the d5 pawn. e3, c4. So like after e3, we can already sense that white wants to capture the c5 because everything is now developed. So like after capturing the pawn, we have bishop b5 check, simply castle. It's going to be a weak pawn. It's going to be good. That's the reason black decides to simply push the pawn, and now the d pawn is no longer an isolated pawn. So definitely now we already can sense that black is having 3 pawns against 2 pawns on the queen side. The black should try to play on the queen side, as black is having a queen side advantage. Bishop e2, knight to d7, short castle, bishop to b4, playing on the queen side, and like generally it looks like we should play bishop e7, stuff like that, but bishop b4, playing on the queen side, because Nihal knows that he's having the queen side majority pawns, he should try to play on the queen side. Bishop b4, we have knight e5, and castle by black. And after castle, we simply have knight into d7. After knight into d7, you can already sense that you cannot capture with the bishop. You lose the e5 or d5 pawn because you cannot capture. You lose the queen, and you cannot capture with the knight because you lose the queen. So you are forced to capture with the queen. Takes, and it definitely looks black is having a very bad pawn structure on the king side. The king looks extremely weak. But guess what? Nothing's happening. It's absolutely fine position. Nihal knows that it's not like the game is over. It's not like the end of the world. He knows that nothing is coming to the king. You can simply play King H8 Rook G8 in the worst circumstances, and now it's a question who is attacking. So Gf6, we have Bishop F3, King G7 trying to defend the pawn. Here we have A4 by Ding trying to take some space on the queen side. B6 stopping A5, Knight to E2. So basically, as we know that on the king side, black looks slightly weak. So definitely now Ding is trying to maneuver the pieces on the king side. Bishop to D6, because bishop definitely are now nicely placed on the D6 and D6. Knight C3, Bishop to B4, repeating the position once, and now like perhaps Nihal was ready to make a draw, but Queen C2 Ding wants to keep playing. Rook C8, Rook D1, F5, taking control of the light squares. G3, making a square for the bishop to pawn G2. Finish to bishop A6, trying to play B5. Knight to E2, bishop to D6. Finally, we have B3, playing on the queen side. B5. Definitely capturing the pawn looks a bad idea. Queen B3, and these pawns are extremely weak. That's the reason simply B5 takes. And in this position, it looks like perhaps, I don't know, perhaps something like this. Black would be having two passed pawns, but nothing's happening because of D5. Black loses a piece. And it looks like we should capture with the B pawn. Black's having this structure, but guys, it's a very safe structure, and it's very hard for black to make any progress. That's the reason Nihal go for capturing with the rook, creating an imbalance, creating the rook, and it's a passed pawn. Queen B3, Rook C. Rook A5, Rook B4, Queen A2, and here he played Rook A4. In the interview, like when Chess-Based India, Sagar Shah was talking with Nihal, Nihal told that he was thinking of playing a Rook to C4 in this position, but after Rook A7, the position is still very hard to judge, like who is winning, who's what is happening in the position. But he thought that after playing Rook A4 takes, Bishop into D5, giving up the pawn, he thought that the A pawn is having the potential to become a queen. That's the reason he played A3 in this position. Bishop takes pawn push, Queen to E4, Knight to D4, which was simply a bad move. In this position, the best move would have been simply to play Queen to A1 check, and it's the best move. The reason is after Knight D4 we have Rook B8, and the idea is simply Rook B2, and it's already good for black. So, but like if Queen A1 check, you play King G6, Knight check, Queen takes, Bishop takes, pawn takes, and it's an equal position. It's the best. But actually, both the players missed this Queen A1 ideas, and we have Knight to D4, Rook B2, Rook B8. A simple idea of playing Rook B2. Knight to B3 was played, Queen C4, and now Queen check because there is nothing to play. Yeah, you have to make a move. Like you can't make a move like Rook B1 because of Gf6, and there are like every piece of white is simply blocked, so nothing is happening. That's the reason Queen A1 check, King G6, Knight to A5, Queen to E2, Rook comes, and here I think that's Queen takes. Knight spinning, Rook B1 is coming, it's unstoppable, making the queen. So game. So for example, if Queen A1 check, and you are forced to give up the queen. So this was the first game. Liren played very well, but in the end, Nihal Sarin clinched the game. So the first game was very interesting. We got to know that we can. It's not bad to play with the isolated pawn. We can definitely play. We just need to know how to play with the isolated pawn, because the disadvantages, it's an isolated and the weak pawn. The advantages, it gives black a huge amount of space. Second, a lead in development as well, free flow of development of minor pieces. So yeah, and my one tip is from my side, one advice I would say, if you are having a isolated pawn, try to make use of the bishop like a pawn, because it would be good. The bishop would work as a pawn, and it would also be developed, not like staying on the defensive side. So it's a fine game. So now it's time for discuss the second game. Now discussing the second game, Nihal Sarin is playing with the white pieces, and he starts out the game with 1d4. Then with the block pieces replies with knight f6, knight f3, d5, c3, and basically we have the London. Because it's one of the favorite opening of Nihal Sarin. He likes to play the London, a very positional opening, and he's a very strong positional player, which everybody knows. Queen b6. There is a video that I've made that I'm recommending, like with the block pieces, I'm recommending that we should always, like against the London, we should try to, for example, we are having this position. We should always try to play queen b6 like this. And if queen b3, we are having this. Takes, and black is having this queen side attack, and it's very interesting for black. But definitely, it do not work in the high level. Like, it can be played, but we know. So, but Liren went for something different. He put the pawn to e6, e3, queen b6, queen b3. And if you try to play c4 in this position, we are like white can simply play queen c2 and trying to get a break from the center, eventually making the d pawn weak. That's the reason we have bishop g7. Liren is focusing on the development of the pieces. Knight g2. All those who are thinking that is making the double pawns good or bad. Like in this scenario, in this particular scenario, making the double pawn is not such a bad idea for black, because in the exchange it opens up the rook file, and second, black can try to push the double pawns, and it is very good for black. No problems at all. That's the reason no side is trying to capture the queens. So we have a couple more of moves: knight e5, bishop to c6, shut castle, knight g7. So basically, both the players are simply maneuvering the pieces. It's a positional game, yeah. Rook c8. As we know, both the rooks are over here, so definitely black is trying to play on the queen side. Rook g1 takes, knight takes, bishop e8. Trying to keep the bishop pair. h3. We're removing all background issues. Knight e4, knight f3. Stuff like that. a4. Nihal is trying to grab some serious space on the queen side. a6, queen c2 takes, pawn takes. Queen d8 going back, bishop d3. I don't know, something is coming up perhaps. g6, and the idea could be to play bishop f6, bishop g7, finish the bishop. a5 finally grab, like white is having a large amount of space on the queen side. Bishop b5, bishop in d6, bishop d6, knight to f3. If we capture the pawn, bishop, pawn takes, and the a pawn is extremely weak. And if you try to defend the pawn like by playing b4, you are having the c3 weakness. That's the reason why it is not going for capturing the bishop. Knight f3, bishop goes back, queen d2, queen d7, rook e1, b6, takes, h4. Nihal is trying to play on the king side. h5, knight g4, knight g5. Couple of moves were made. And now Nihal is trying to come up with on the king side, going for the king. a4, Ding is simply advancing on the queen side. Knight s3, a3, ba3, queen f5. Too many weaknesses for white. Perhaps definitely black is having an edge. Knight f4, queen c3. Queen c3. And here, Ding actually missed something big. He thought that it's a free pawn, but he simply missed this. That is fight check. Capturing the pawn, check, and guess what? Now it's completely winning for white. You can't capture because of queen d5 check. You move, you have check, you move, you check, checkmate. All the pieces are blocked. Everything is blocked. So you can't really capture the knight. They moved. Check. Queen e3. Not reading the queens, because whenever you are in an attack, you should always try to keep the queens, because queen is the main attacker in the game. Queen e3, e5. Ding wanted to open up the position somehow. Knight check, knight g4. Queen h6 is coming up. It's all over. Rook e6 takes. Bishop goes back. Rook comes. Now you are forced to give up the queen, because if you try to move the queen, you lose the rook. So queen takes, queen check, king move, check, takes. Rook takes King G2. And despite being a materially up, it's a fourth mate on G7. So on the move number 47, again, Nihal Sarin clinched the game in the end. Like, we knew that everything was fine till here. In this position, it would have been best for black to capture the knight first. And after, for example, Gf4, now Queen C3 is absolutely fine. But Queen C3 first leads to a long variation. And as we know, long variation is a wrong variation. So now Nihal Sarin is 2 points up and you only need the draw to eliminate Ding and qualify for the next round. So what are we waiting for next? Just let's move to the third game. So in the third game, Ding Liren is forced to win 2 games in a row if you want to make a comeback. He's playing with white pieces, starts out with 1b4, g5, c4 takes, Nf3 Nf6 E3. I personally feel that after GC, if he really wants to make a comeback, he needs to play a very aggressive chess, like something like E4, trying to play attacking chess. But he's still playing very positional. E3, you can see E6 takes C5. Nihal Sarin is very confident in his position, I believe. Short castle A6, trying to play B5, hitting the bishop, developing the bishop by playing bishop B7. We have B3 Nbd7, bishop B2, bishop B7. Both the players are simply making the move. We see it looks like white definitely got a tempo, like we have bishop B7, bishop C5, but it's absolutely fine for Nihal. 92, B6, E4. It looks like definitely a good position for white, because white is having the 2 tremendous powerful bishops, but nothing is happening. Bishop B6. Black wants to play bishop B7, and black is also having the same material, same position, and nothing is coming up. So B6, E4, trying to grab some serious space on the king in the center, and you can't really play E5 because of, I believe, simply B4 is strong. According to the engine, if we take, we have bishop into F7 check, takes, queen check. So basically, E5 is already very weak. The pawn is extremely weak. We have bishop B7 simply ignoring the center pawn. E5, knight G5, rook E1, short castle, and definitely E5 pawn is extremely strong because it gives white a huge amount of space, but nothing is happening. Bishop D3, bishop B7, coming back. And making a move like backward actually requires a huge amount of knowledge. Because in this position, it looks like to play rook C8, a natural move. But bishop E7, not so natural. Definitely not so natural. 94. And any player in the lower level, even in middle level, or perhaps in the high level as well, would simply get afraid with playing with the black pieces. Because white is having a huge amount of space in the center because of the e-pawn. White pieces are simply coming on the king side flawlessly. Black is playing very passively. But according to engine and Nihal, the position is absolutely fine and even better for black. Knight C5 takes, bishop takes. Bishop C1 trying to come up with playing on the king side, but now knight B4. Everything is forced to be exchanged because the bishop is hanging, so you have to move the bishop. Queens were traded. Actually, playing queen C7 would give black a serious advantage, but as we know, Nihal simply requires a draw to win the game, to eliminate Ding and qualify for the next round. Rook G8, bishop D2, rook C8, king 10, and a couple of moves were played. He got a pawn. He went on to the game. After playing 29 moves, bishop in D3, they decided to agree to a draw. Because if we take, we are having the opposite color bishop, and any player can make a draw. And even black is the pawn. And if you take this, we have bishop E4, same bishop, pawn down. You think you can win with the white pieces? I don't think so. Against Nihal. So that's the reason that drew. And Nihal Sarin got qualified for the next round, and Ding Liren have been eliminated from the tournament. So a very interesting, all the 3 games. We learned a lot, and I hope so that you guys have liked the video, liked the analysis of the game, And if you did, then make sure to like the video, share this video with everyone to know about this game, about this online tournament, the biggest tournament of chess.com Global Championship Knockout 2022. And I'm going to come up with these interesting videos like this. So till then, stay tuned and keep watching Oneshot Chess.